Thank you, Tom. Boy, you just timed that just perfectly. Either that or I timed the bell perfectly. I'm not sure which. Welcome, everyone, to the August 4th meeting of the Rotary Club. I cannot believe it's August. I just don't know where the summer has gone. You would think with all this COVID mess that it would creep by, but anyway. So welcome to everyone who's joining us online. We've got Martin from Denmark online with us. We did have Carolyn. Is Carolyn still on? Okay, we had Carolyn right on there for a little bit. I guess she got tired of waiting for us. Well, hey, Martin. Hope everybody is doing well there. Do we have any guests with us today? I don't see anybody. It's all home folk. Y'all are so quiet. I guess I picked the right time while everybody was eating, huh? Thank you all for wearing your masks. We still have some, and I keep saying Mask Up Americus, and my apologies to those who serve on that committee. It's actually Mask Up Sumter. I just got Mask Up Americus in my head, Mask Up Sumter. And thanks to them, they provide us some packets of masks. We've still got plenty. I've just brought a handful with me today. So if you know of anybody that could use them or you need extra, please feel free to take those before you go. And I am going to call on Chief Scott to give our invocation today.
All right, let's pray. Father God, we just thank you for this beautiful day that you blessed us with, Lord. We thank you for this organization, the opportunity to give us to serve our community. Lord, just continue to pray for our community. And this pandemic continues without abatement. Lord, we're thankful that our numbers are steady and low, not keeping like they were. Pray that you continue to give us good sense to wear masks and take precautions that we need to keep these things spreading. Lord, we pray for our teachers who are gearing up for online courses. Lord, for those who are already back in their classrooms, getting ready for kids to come back in. Lord, we just know that they're all facing a lot of uncertainty on how that's going to go and what COVID might do with all that. So we just pray for your hand to be on that. Lord, we just pray that you continue to bless us, love, and we continue to serve our community.
Amen. Thank you, Chief. K1, Sergeant at Arms report.
Okay, birthdays, Mallory Edwards, August 4th, Don Porter, August 7th, Ron Gatson, August 7th, Emery Green, August 10th, Andy Riccardi, August 9th. Wedding anniversaries, Emery Green, August 8th, Dottie Sybil Smith, August 10th. Service anniversaries, Raymond Baldwin, August 1st, 28 years. Lee Pinnell, August 1st, 20 years. Steve Stanfield, August 1st, 27 years. John Lee, August 4th, 5 years. Mark Scott, August 9th, 4 years.
Thank you. All right, and K1 is going to be handling the luck of the draw. I told you we would bring that back in August. So if anyone is interested in a ticket, you can either raise your hand and he will come to you, or y'all can bring it to him. And you know, with all the national change shortage and everything, exact change is requested. All right, anybody got a sunshine dollar they'd like to share with the club? Sunshine dollars, anyone? Anyone? Brad?
Well, I have my youngest daughter and her family here tonight, so pray for me. 3 kids, 3 to 10. So
Goodness.
It'll be a lot of fun.
Yeah, it will be fun. Any other sunshine dollars? All good? All right. Any condolences or well wishes? Okay. Any, Dr. Herron doing okay?
still going into rehab, 12 some days ago.
Oh, goodness. Well, we did send out some masks and some Rotary pins to some of our Rotarians that have not been able to be with us. Dr. Heron, Mary Ann, Reverend Dupree, and several others. We did get a little note from Mary Ann I'd like to share with you. Your gift of a Rotary pin and mask was so thoughtful. Thank you just as much. I appreciate you remembering me. I certainly miss my Tuesdays with you and would much rather be enjoying a tasty cafeteria meal than spending the day at the oncology clinic as I do now, Mary Ann. So we want to continue to remember her in our thoughts and prayers, and it was good hearing from her. All right, any community announcements? All right, Steve.
Yeah. You asked me last week if I had the numbers from Harvest Food Pantry drive-through last month at First Baptist. I just got them. They had 690 cars on the road. It was the longest line, like I said, a week ago. I've seen out there filled up. And they, the numbers that people write down, how many are in the family, how many are they had 1,900 people. There's another one this next Thursday week, 13th, at First Baptist. So we'll get some water to Gatorade up to the workers. But if y'all want to help, we'll get you more people. Thank you very much. Yes. I don't think they have the ability right now to handle the head part bag. I haven't asked them, but I will. I'm actually back all down here. I opened feeling
That volunteer information is also in your bulletin. So right inside the bulletin, they are needing help packing food on August the 7th from 8 a.m. to noon. And then the 13th will be the distribution event from 9 a.m. to 2. So you can call Pat Turner. She's coordinating all the volunteers for that. So if you are available and would like to help, I'm sure that they would not turn down another set of hands. So thank you all. As far as, this is kind of a community announcement too, but it's also a club announcement. Chief Scott, would you like to say anything about the school distribution?
Absolutely. So we are partnering with Suffolk County Sheriff's Office, Rotary, another level name now, and a bunch of businesses to do a back to school giveaway. It'll be Thursday the 6th at 3 o'clock. It'll be in the parking lot of Central Baptist out on the road. So all we've got to do is come right through the parking lot, have folks there throwing things in the windows. We've got book bags, all kinds of school supplies, other community resources that we're going to be giving out. That was publicized. I'm going to post it again on the police department's Facebook page. If you share that, we'll have a good turnout. We got 500 backpacks, and we'll all we'll have a bunch of stuff to give away.
Rotary is participating in that, as he said, and we will also need some volunteers to help. We'll have a table set up at Central Baptist Church. We are giving away spiral bound notebooks, pencils, Rotary pencils, and sharpeners. We'll have those in Rotary bags. So we're going to have to put up a little assembly line. We would like to have volunteers there by 2 o'clock. So if you're willing to help, if you would either text me or send me an email or just let me know after the meeting so I can know how many we can count on, that would be fantastic. Also, I was asked by Kurt Driscoll to be on the district all-call meeting tomorrow at 1 o'clock to talk about my Rotary story. So if you'd like to listen in on that, I put that information on there too. It was an honor to be asked, and I'm looking forward to it. He will have his official visit to our club on September 8th. And so we will also be having a board meeting on that day. I will be getting with all of you on the board ahead of time to talk about where we will all meet. And we will also, if everything goes well, we will be having a joint social with the Cordial Club. I have got word into the Lakeshore Grill, the Tri-County Seafoods Lakeshore Grill, to make sure that I'm clear on what their capacity is with social distancing, and to make sure that we remain safe through that event. They do not open to the public on that Tuesday night. She is only opening for Rotary, so that will be helpful as well. But I will be getting that information from her and make sure to share it with y'all. But if you would like a reservation for that, and your spouse is invited as well, it's on the Rotary calendar online. You can actually reserve a spot. That would give us a really good indication of how many we need to let them know to expect, since they are opening just for us. I want to make sure that we provide her with enough information so that she's got the help she needs to serve the tables. All right. And we're always glad to hear from our fellow Rotarians, especially when they hold such titles as Provost and Vice President of Academic Affairs for GSW. I'm real excited that Suzanne Smith was going to be here. When we asked everyone for some ideas for programs, of course, everybody was concerned about COVID and what that meant for the return to school and for their colleges and universities. So we are very honored to have her here to talk about the extensive planning and the continued planning and all the changes that have had to be made to the campus to get ready for the influx of returning students and new freshmen to the campus. So Suzanne came to us. She's a Georgia girl. She's from the Atlanta area and even has some UGA in her background. But she came to us from Washington State, and so we were kind of glad to get her back on the East Coast. I know her parents were, and so it's been an honor to get to know her. She's done a fantastic and fabulous job since being here on this campus, and there's a real asset to Georgia Southwestern State University. So please give a warm Rotarian welcome to one of our own, Dr. Suzanne Smith. Making sure. There you go.
All right, thank you, Angela. Every time I wear these earrings, can you see this? Yeah. Yeah, okay. Angela asked me if I would be willing to spend just a few minutes. Is that me? Is that my other voice in my head? Okay, just to spend a few minutes talking about what's going on at GSW and how we're handling COVID and coming back to campus. So pretty much anytime I talk about COVID and planning, I have a statement like this. Information provided in this presentation is up to date as of August 4th, 2020 at 1 o'clock. The one thing that we learned when all of this started, I actually was on a plane March 12th heading to California for spring break for vacation, and had the free Wi-Fi, and then my phone just started dinging off the hooks. And so by the time I landed, the system had announced that, you know, COVID's here, we need to figure these things out. We moved into our rental house, and I didn't leave it for 10 days because I couldn't get a flight home because of COVID. So March 16th was the official day that we were told on campus that we would be closing and removing to online learning. We had a 2-week period where we could transition from face-to-face to online learning. And I point this out to say that it is a remarkable feat what happened around the world to make this happen, because generally on our campus, if I have a faculty member who's going to be teaching a class for the first time in an online environment, we give them a semester release before and we pay them a stipend to do the work that's involved, because it's extensive. When you're teaching online, all the work you do is up front as opposed to in the middle and ongoing. So with none of that, they had 2 weeks to take 4 classes and move them all online. For some of our faculty, it's the first time they'd ever taught online. For many of our faculty, for many of our students, it's the first time they had learned online. It was chaotic. It was, that's probably the best word, but it was also awe-inspiring, I have to say, to see the way that people just pulled up their bootstraps, got to work, and got it done. So kudos to all the educators across K-12, higher ed, everyone that made this happen. So I thought I would just show you, I will say 2 other things about that as well. Probably 2 of the saddest days I've ever seen on a university campus. I've been in higher ed for decades. Number 1 was when we had to meet with the athletes and tell them that their season was over. As a college athlete myself, my heart broke. It was painful. I still get teary thinking about it. Especially if you're a senior, imagine this is your crowning moment, your final semester. It was heartbreaking. And then telling everyone that our students were all on spring break when this happened, right? So instead of coming back, they now had to figure out how to pack up their room in a 4-hour slot with no help, because we couldn't allow people in to help them except for 2 people. So we had lots of students that left for spring break. I was guilty when I was a college student. I didn't take anything with me, right? I'm not going to read a book. I'm not going to look at an email. They had nothing. And now their classes are starting and their move-in time might be 8-10 days away, and move out time. So it was extraordinary what we had to go through on this campus to protect people, but that's what you do in higher education. So I thought I would just show you some of the training that we're doing here on campus. The things I'm about to show you are things that you know, and I can't actually read it because I don't have my glasses. So we have done extensive training, faculty, staff. We're working on training now for our students. We've created a web page when this happened with resources for faculty to learn how to teach online. We're now in our 4th or 5th reiteration of that. But just so that y'all know, we follow the best practices of the CDC, the Georgia Department of Public Health, and the University System of Georgia. Whether or not we are face-to-face or online, it's not a decision GSW can make. That decision is made by the University System of Georgia. So if you hear faculty and staff saying that GSW isn't treating them well by making them be here, we don't have an option in this. This is the choice of the USG. So we are all or nothing as a system. So they get their guidance from the governor. So if you kind of want to see where GSW is going to move over the next few months, listen to what the governor says, and pretty much Georgia falls in line with that. The chair of the University System of Georgia is an appointee of the governor. Not that they're related, but just saying. So we were asked over the summer to write 3 plans. So the first plan I wrote was how we come back to campus with social distancing, which is the plan that we're on now. The second plan was, what do we do if we have to move online again? And the third plan was, how do we come back to campus in the fall entirely online? So we pretty much know that the third plan is not going to happen. First plan is being enacted as we speak. Second plan, who knows? The only thing I've learned is that as soon as I say something, it's likely to be inaccurate. Dr. Weaver and I did a podcast in April, just trying to, build morale, talk about what's going on. We talked about the current information from the USG and the CDC, and we got it out there. Bob Slinker was looking at it, making sure everything recorded. And then as we're waiting to leave, Dr. Weaver looked at his email and he goes, everything we just said is a lie. We've gotten a new directive and a new order. So that's been the fun part of my job, I guess you could say. So we are definitely taking precautions here on campus, and I'm going to go through them more specifically. Again, here's surge. You can see we have these 6 feet social distancing signs all over campus. Any student-facing space that you enter on our campus will show you what the appropriate social distancing is. This is the information that's being shared with our students right now. We actually have 125 students on campus as we speak for our orientation, our storm day. So they are being given information sheets that list this types of things. What is COVID? How does it spread? What can you do about it? How can it be prevented? We have very specific guidelines on the website for them about what does sick mean. So, you know, and I'll show you in a second what that looks like. We are moving students into residence halls. We have if they show up, and we have 6 more days to see if that happens, we'll end up having one of our largest freshman classes ever. And many of them will be in residence halls, many of them will not. We are making their room suites, their pods, that's what we're calling it, their COVID pod. So that they don't have to wear masks in their pod, but they will have to wear masks outside of their pod. Let's see. We're sharing lots of information about the symptoms of COVID, cough, shortness of breath, fever. In general, if you have been directly exposed, symptoms will show up within 5 days is the general consensus right now. But if you've been directly exposed, we're using a 14-day quarantine. That's still the CDC guideline that we're using. The interesting thing about COVID is that the symptoms can be very different for every single person out there. So even on our campus, we're doing the temperature checks. You could have people that never have a temperature that are positive to this. You can have people that never have a cough or never have shortness of breath. You can have people that present as a cold or the flu that actually have COVID. That's what's crazy making as an administrator in this type of a situation. And then on top of that, you know, testing can be difficult to obtain. But this is what we're sharing. If you have any of these symptoms, let's get you quarantined for a few days. Let's make sure that it's a cold and not COVID. And this is how we're educating them. So you'll see signs all over campus. Face coverings are required, and I'll show you some more about that in a minute. Please do not gather here. Okay, we're talking individuals from the ages of 18 to 24, right? We know that we could wear T-shirts and put up banners. They're gonna gather. But our job is to educate them for what best practices is and to break up large gatherings if we see them. Elevators, we have signs for. So what does social distancing on campus look like? So here's Serge putting up a plexiglass shield in our student accounts area. So any place that is forward-facing, student-facing for services like registrar's office, student accounts, some of those areas we've put plexiglass shields to protect our staff. We have signage everywhere. We have I want to say like 7,000 gallons of sanitizer on our campus somewhere. It's a number that is astonishing. Each classroom will have sanitizer next week. All of our admin areas have hand sanitizer. And we're limiting our large groups on campus as well. Let's see. Use of face coverings. So here's Serge wearing his face mask. Effective July 15th, 2020, the University System of Georgia requires all faculty, staff, and students and visitors to wear an appropriate face covering while inside campus facilities and buildings where 6 feet of social distancing may not be possible. And this little phrase has caused a tremendous amount of conversation across campuses in the state of Georgia, as you can imagine, where social distancing may not be possible. So on our campus, we are social distancing all of our classrooms 6 feet apart, and we are also requiring face masks even though we are doing that. And we are doing that so that if we have a student that tests positive in a classroom, we don't have to quarantine everyone around them. if we have masks and we have appropriate social distancing, then we won't need to quarantine the whole class, just that one student. So that's why we are doing both. The student on our campus has to have a mask on inside any building, inside the classroom, walking in and out through the hallways. There are some people that face masks or face coverings are not safe for them or for their health for whatever reason. So we do have a system in place that students can apply for accommodations. And we're giving them, we're sending their faculty a notice that says, you know, face covering not required for the student. And we're also giving the student a card so that they don't get accosted by fellow students about their face mask. All these things that you get to think about. So what happens if someone tests positive on our campus? So faculty and staff will report that to the director of HR. We will then contact the Department of Public Health. We will require, obviously, quarantine for them. And at that point, moving forward, we're following the CDC guidelines. So if you can't find it on our website, which you can, if you go to CDC guidelines, that's exactly what we're doing. If you think about this from a faculty standpoint, this means that I now have let's say one classroom with a faculty member who's not able to teach for at least 2 weeks. So we are having all of our faculty prepare in advance what would happen in their class should they be unable to teach. So that someone could potentially step in, you know, you don't need to have a detailed plan of action, but you need to have, this is what's happening each week, and these are the types of things that I want covered during that week. So if it's a faculty member, we'll cover it however we can. Another faculty member in the department, pull in someone from the outside. Students, very similar process, except for they report to the Office of Student Engagement and Success. And that's because we have a team in place who kind of take over the care of this for that student. If they're residential, we have a place where we can quarantine them. We will drop meals to them. We will get them to care if they need it. We will be sure that they're getting tested as they needed. We will contact their teachers for them so that they don't have to do that, to help build that communication, so that we are not allowing any faculty member to not let a student finish the class because they end up getting sick in the middle of the semester. It's not fair to the students. And so we will work with any student that ends up getting sick to make sure that they can finish the class, whatever ends up being best for them. That makes sense. Classroom accommodations. So classes actually start next Wednesday. Like I said, is my time up? I'm almost done. Classes start next Wednesday. We had our very first ever Thunder Camp the last 3 days, which is a pre-orientation camp for incoming freshmen. The freshmen move on campus in earnest on Thursday and Friday. We have our orientation for freshmen Saturday through Tuesday. Our upperclassmen can start moving in on Saturday, and they can move in Saturday through Tuesday. So pretty soon we'll have everyone here and available. So all classrooms and labs have been marked to accommodate social distancing. We're requiring masks in all classrooms. Some areas, mostly our health sciences, will also require PPD in our sim labs. Some labs we can't do, but they're going to be completely masked up in nursing, for example. Faculty and students are eligible for accommodations if they're in a high-risk category. So I would say on our campus, about 30% of our faculty have requested accommodations because of being in one of the high-risk categories. And that changed when the CDC expanded their list pretty tremendously in the last month or so, the amount of things that fall under high risk. So there's a process that they follow, a form that they fill out, documentation they provide. And then for many of those people, that means moving classes online. For many of them, it just means that they won't meet face-to-face in their office with students. So we'll have a lot of virtual meetings going on. Same is true for students. If they have accommodations because they're in a high-risk group, they're able to request those accommodations, and we're doing the best that we can to meet those kinds of needs. All classrooms will be sanitized every night with special attention to touch points. Each building, as you probably noticed here, has an entrance and an exit. I've only messed up once on my building. but it's only been a couple of days. So we're trying to control the flow of traffic so that people aren't passing each other in the hallways, because we know that's a high rate of spread, high incident of spread. Each building has an up and down on the staircases as well. So we don't want people passing each other on staircases or in tight areas. So these are all types of things that we're doing. Students will have all the supplies that they need if they want to clean their desk space before class. And so we're making that available. We don't have the person power or the ability to clean between every class in every building. We have, over 1,000 classes running in a semester. So, but we are making supplies available for those that would choose to do so. Living on campus. So again, the move-in process for our students. I'm really sad that we don't get to have our traditional freshman move-in day. It's one of my favorite days of the year. Move-in day and graduation. It's kind of like being a parent. You're excited to get them in and you're excited to get them out. Same is true on a college campus. Move-in day here is extraordinary. The community turnout, the excitement. So I'm sad for our students that they don't get that experience. Right now you have to sign up. We have 3 time slots a day for any, no matter what class you're in. You can only bring 2 people with you. You can ask for assistance if you need it, and our athletic department, who has been phenomenal in all of this, is helping to move students in. But I'm sad not to be a part of that process with them. So we're only moving 20 students in per dorm at a time. So imagine we used to move in about 350 at one time, and now 20 at a time in that dorm. So that's why this is a very lengthy process. They will be required to complete a COVID questionnaire prior to entering the residence hall. So they'll do the temperature check. They'll say that they haven't traveled to a hotspot area. They'll take a knowledge quiz, the stuff that I shared with you at the beginning. Has already been sent to them, so they'll take a knowledge quiz that they understand what it looks like, what symptoms are, what we can do to avoid it, and then that they know what our policies and procedures are. So everyone living in a dorm will be signing something that says that. They are allowed to visit in their own dorm, but they're not allowed to visit across dorms, which is going to be really difficult for our students. If you ever spent some time on a college campus, you spend as much time in other people's dorms as you do in your own. So it's going to be a change, but the way that we are telling students, this is what we have to do to stay on campus. If you want to be here and face-to-face, these are the rules that we have to follow, because we're not staying here if we can't be safe. Dining on campus. So once everyone is here, you'll see that the door that we normally come in is the entrance. The exit now is through the courtyard there, so no exiting the entrance or entering the exiting, whatever. Students will slide their own card. Instead, normally you would hand the card and they would ring it for you. Students will do that themselves now. Chick-fil-A and Boar's Head Deli is now Sweet Pepper Deli. It's the same thing with a different name. And Chick-fil-A and Sweet Pepper Deli will be open for takeout only, so no dining in there. I have heard, Sam, my son that lives with us, works there, and he's super excited to be back. He really is. He's been going out of his brain. And I heard that they're opening on Saturday. That's the current plan. So they will have an even more limited menu than they typically have. And again, just trying to get the number of people through without long lines and people waiting for a shorter period of time as possible. The Higher Grounds coffee shop here on campus is now being run by Cafe Campesino. So we're very excited about that partnership. And they'll be open and have limited seating. If you've ever been in the Higher Grounds area, there's lots of seating in there. It's very easy to social distance, but we'll be monitoring that as well. And our convenience store there will also be open. Fitness center will be open to the public with a limited capacity. So we're going to try it and see how it goes with just monitoring it on as ongoing basis. If that becomes complex, then we'll do some kind of check-in system or sign up for time system. But we're going to try it that way first. Most campus services that we have, face coverings will be required. Our PEDS classes, our PE classes for students, we've cut all those back so that they're socially distanced, so that if you're taking a step class, you don't have to wear a mask. I was worried about our students passing out on the step, or so we are keeping those very well social distance. The Daraso pool is closed for the academic year. That was actually a budgetary decision and not a COVID decision, but they actually pair nicely together. Keeping that safe for people would have been interesting. And that's just kind of a 360 view of what we're doing on campus. We have 148 pages of details. I'm happy to share any of them that you would like about how we are doing this in the fall. So if you are not in this room and you're walking around campus, be sure that you have your face covering on. We will have face covering stations and hand sanitizing stations in every building. Faculty will have the right to tell a student that they can't come in their class if they're not wearing a face covering. So if I'm a faculty member and someone walks in and they don't have on a mask, I have the right to, actually I have the responsibility, frankly, to tell them that face masks are required in class. If you don't have one with you, you can get them at the door, downstairs, but they're a requirement to be here. We hope that we don't have any arguments beyond that point, but that is our requirement. And so we will, if we have to remove a student from class for not wearing one, that's what we'll do, unless they have the exception, right? So pretty much all I know at this point is that we are very well prepared and that we are very well planned and that things will go wrong. That's just going to be the way that it is. So we're ready for that. We're ready for things to have to change, but faculty and staff are nervous and students are nervous, but they're also excited, which is good. And so, my message to people is that we have done everything humanly possible to make this as safe for you as possible. And if we didn't feel like we could provide a safe environment, then we wouldn't be opening our doors. And so that's the 360 view. I'm happy to answer any questions if you have any, or concerns, or things that you've heard in the community, or from students or faculty or friends of yours that are staff. I get all my good information from other people. So, yeah.
We all have testing on site here.
I'm going to say yes and no. So, yes, we will have testing on site. We've ordered, I think we ordered a couple hundred tests that we will have available on campus, the rapid test. They are extremely expensive. And we will have that available, and we will also have transportation available for students if they need it to get tested at the health center or doctor's office or whatever. So we will have limited testing available, but we will have total access to testing for all our students. Good question. Yeah. No.
Somebody gets scared of all this. Will it count against their 5 ad drops? Like if they.
Well, I mean, I guess so like if they're in the middle of the semester and all of a sudden it's like they just don't feel safe. Yeah, so no. So we did this in the spring as well. So if students got into it in the middle of the semester in spring and they just weren't going well, we just let them do whatever they wanted to do. So, and the same will be true for the fall. Yeah, no, it's a fair question because they've paid for it. I mean, the thing that we can't control is at what point it happens depends whether they get their money back or not. So that's when advising comes into play. Yeah. Yeah.
You get in the news, you see all these things.
Uh-huh.
Given the fact that I can't imagine. What's the chain of command, if you will?
That,
without creating,
yeah, that's a great question. Good question. So at this point, what we are coaching our faculty and staff to do is to be gentle reminders of the policies. In the classroom, honestly, we've told them if there's continued resistance and they won't listen, then you call campus security. What we don't want is self-appointed COVID control force, for lack of a better, we're not making shirts or teams. We're asking people, if you see things, to point it out to them, hey, you might have forgotten what the rule is, or, maybe you didn't see the 12,000 signs on campus. And that we will use our student conduct process for a student if it's repetitive offenses. So we will be tracking over the course of the semester people that aren't following violations, to know whether, it could be, I walked out of my office the other day to go down the hall without my mask. I walked back. I'm getting a lot more steps in these days, I can tell you that. What we want is a positive approach, but we will use our student conduct process if we have to. Yeah, so. Yeah, so Rush is, so I'm going to say this is the answer as of August today at whatever time it is, because this has changed every week for the last 6 months, because we also have national standards, right, that impose some of that process on them. At this point, I have heard, and I don't know the definitive answer to this, a lot of it will be done online. And that, again, this is where it gets tricky, right? Those Greek houses are not on GSW campus. We have no control over what happens in those buildings. So if the national chapter says that they can do whatever they want and they do rush events in their building, we have no control. That's when we call our friends. So that falls into we're going to have to see, we're counting on national to give us some really good guidance on this. Maybe officially, but not really unofficially. Is that a fair statement? Yeah, someone else, yes.
This is just a comment. You don't have to.
Sure.
It's kind of funny that I was driving over radio. I heard faculty sitting first before we met yesterday, day before we was, and they sent an entire list of concerns about plan VPAA.
Correct.
Commented on.
Yes.
So I'm sure y'all are aware of that.
We are. Our faculty senate have done the same thing, not with specific concerns, but with just general comments about, are we doing everything that we can for the safety of our faculty? Almost every campus in the University System of Georgia has their faculty senate that has sent a letter to their president and to the system, listing concerns. I mean, the report that Laura and I wrote for our campus was like 148 pages. University of Georgia's is, I can't even imagine how big it is. So I would say, how to say, I'll just say, this is where research, I believe, a year from now will show that being a school like Georgia Southwestern is an advantage. If I'm a parent, I have a student at University of Oregon, huge campus, obviously. I am on their website weekly, watching what they're doing and what's going on. If I had my druthers, I would have her on a campus like GSW. Smaller, fewer dorms, smaller classrooms, more faculty oversight of students. Research is suggesting that smaller campuses will fare better in the end than larger campuses. We don't know that, this is just a guess at this point, but we assume that will be true. I don't see, again, this is me speaking, not a representative of Georgia Southwestern, me as a Rotary member, as a fellow friend, I don't see the University System of Georgia changing their mind unless our numbers really go crazy. But I mean, I could have an email right now that says, hey, guess what? We're going online in the fall. But we'll see. Athletics, I forgot to cover. Athletics is still changing. Athletics is really changing literally every week. As of this moment right now, sport contests can officially begin October 1st. Our fall sports have been given permission to start their fall training, which is 6-8 hours, depending on the sport, starting on the 16th, and they can start their season training September 16th. So our soccer team, for example, will have 2 weeks before their first soccer match. They're not allowed to do any scrambles or preliminary matches or what do you call them? Not real scrimmage. Thank you. No scrimmages are allowed. So when our men and women step on that field October 3rd, I think it's our first home match, that will be the first time they will have played together as a team. It's going to be awesome. I can't wait. So, you know, be kind to your coaches and your athletes as this is a very new experience, right? Our basketball season so far, we haven't been told any changes in there yet. So they just are kind of tiptoeing quietly through the locker rooms, hoping that people have kind of forgotten that they're a fall sport. So who knows what's going to happen for them. Right now, our basketball as a conference is scheduled to run through Christmas in January. No changes. Again, who knows if that will change. Other questions? All I can tell you is that, you know, I've been on campus since this happened. I was part of the essential personnel, so I've been here since March. It's been very quiet. I am thrilled to see life back on campus. I'm thrilled to see people under the age of 30 on campus. They bring a life and vitality. The one thing that we learned on campus over the last 5 months is that the people make a campus. We've got great buildings. Our campus is extraordinarily beautiful, but we need people here to really be alive. So we are excited that people are coming back. And if you think of things, if you have concerns, or if you hear things, feel free to shoot me an email or give me a call. Again, this is very fluid. So we are, don't ever be worried about offending me or anyone in administration here on campus. We want to hear your thoughts. We want to hear your feedback. That's how we're learning too, is people bring up things that we haven't thought about. So please be open and honest in this process, and we're doing everything that we can to keep everybody safe. Thanks.
Thanks, Suzanne. Appreciate you bringing that message. I know that there's been a lot you guys have been doing for a very long time, and I know as a member of the staff, we've gone through the town hall meetings, and it's just extraordinary, the details that had to be covered, and the changes that have had to be made on an ongoing basis, because we've gotten updates, not once a month or so for the big town hall meetings. And it's always something different and something that you wouldn't even think of that has had to be thought of. So anyway, more power to you. That's all I can say. All right, we brought back luck of the draw. Where do we stand? $10, that's it. I know we had 42 cards. Pardon? $82? Okay. All right. Did you buy a ticket?
No.
Do you mind drawing one? Like hold it over your head? All right. Reach in there. Give us a good one.
568874.
Who's our winner today? Don Smith. Let's see what you pull. A 2? Sorry. Better luck next time. All right. Don't forget your cart buckets for Alzheimer's research. So if you've got any loose change that you didn't spend on luck of the draw tickets, then throw it in there. And want to thank Suzanne again for being here. I know that your time is valuable, so I appreciate you being here to give us the update, and looking forward to seeing these kids on campus, but so glad I don't have one in college. That's all I can say. So let's stand and pledge allegiance to the flag. Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. And the four-way test of the things we think, say, and do. Is it the truth? Is it fair to all concerned? Will it build goodwill and better friendships? Will it be beneficial to all concerned? Thank you very much. We're adjourned. And if y'all can help on Thursday, let me know. Thanks, Don.